It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Looks like there's only one loose end now.
Please, let's have a little respect for public transportation.
You came back.
You were right, Roxanne. I never should have left.
Whoa, I thought you were dead.
My death was greatly exaggerated. So, you're the punk I've heard about.
Ah!
Megamind.
Going somewhere? Besides jail?
No, not in the face, man. Please.
You know what's good for you, Titan. You'll stay out of Metrocity.
You got it.
For good.
What's up, everybody? This is Cam Hand, the Fantasy Man, with an emergency video coming out today. As we all know, Ash has quit the league, and so this has brought up a lot of questions. There's still currently a lot of talk about if we should undo the trade, veto the trade, whatever. But you know what? That's not what this video is about. You know, there's a lot of thoughts out there. There's some people spewing some propaganda that Cam Hand, the Fantasy Man, is pushing, is the leader of this resistance to this trade. That could not be further from the truth. I'm just one of 9 that think we should vote on if this trade should or should not go through. That's all it is. But this is not what my video is about. I'm not going to go too much into what had happened with the Ashton Matt. I guess you could call that a trade. I personally don't. But not going to go into that. This video is strictly about who should take Ashton's spot. I thought if we ever end up voting on anything, if Hunter ever ends up putting out a poll, I thought maybe we should see some of the candidates that could potentially take Ashton's spot, because I think we all agree that we will at some point need to vote on who takes Ashton's team over, whether that team have Saquon Barkley on it and Jordan Addison or not. So let's get into the candidates. Candidate number 1, Ian Burgess. Yes, this is Preston Burgess's brother. He's about 30 years old. He went to Forsyth Central High School. He's a big-time rec basketball player. I know a number of people have played rec sports with Ian. And I'm pretty sure he's a Colts fan. His application was submitted to me pretty much via Preston, who said that Ian would love to play, that he'd be super down. I know Ian is in at least 1 to 3, I think probably 2 or 1 leagues already. So I think he's got a relatively moderate to high ball knowledge. His connection to the league, he's a core member. I would say Preston's a core member of the league's brother. And I also think a few people in the league have met him, think he's a nice guy. He worked at Marie's Deli with Dylan as well. So I think he's got a solid connection to the league. Would he play next year? This is a big question with all of our guys. Is this person just a placeholder, or are they going to be in for the long haul? I would think Ian would want to be in for the long haul, but I said probably because you never know. I didn't talk to him by any means, but would he partake in athletic challenges? This is more like, we do some athletic challenges in our league, especially sometimes for draft order. And definitely, I think he would love to. That's right up Ian's alley. So I think he would definitely be fine to participate in those challenges, unlike Sam, for example. His responsiveness, from what I can tell, is pretty strong. I've even texted him about some random things here and there, and he responds. Seems relatively responsive. Demeanor and personality, very laid back. I know a lot of people, they want a more chill personality in Ash's replacement because we got a lot of hotheads and a lot of people with strong takes. So I think there's some need for a more laid back personality in the league who's active but doesn't take it too seriously. How would he take being roasted? This is because of recent events. This is very important. Good. He's not like a much of an arguer like his brother Preston. He's well known as the more laid back Burgess. Not a big arguer. I think Ian would just kind of maybe take the roasting and just move on, which I think is good. Bad potential or bad trade potential is low. I think he at the very least will be able to run trades by Preston, and I mean that could be a concern of a bad trade between him and Preston, but I think Ian knows what he's doing to a certain extent, and I've heard some trades that he's made in his other leagues. I think his bad trade potential is low. His social score would be about a C plus, because I think he would talk maybe a little bit, but I don't think he's not friends with really anyone in the league, so I don't think that he would be have a super high social score. Other leagues, again, 1 to 3, extracurricular participation would be minimal. I'm talking like coming to the draft or going to Taco Mac or something. I think that would be absolutely minimal. His biggest con. Oh, and Hunter's calling me back. Hold on. I think I can pause this recording. All right. I think I'm back on. I guess I was on Ian. Just got off the phone with a relatively productive call with Hunter. I don't think I did cons. Cons, he doesn't know most of the people in the league at all, so slightly unsure what his commitment level would be. Biggest pros, he's a nice, responsive, active guy, and he has someone who will really keep him accountable. And he'll also boost Preston's enjoyment of the league. All right, number 2. Now, I haven't talked to Emery, but he's always been interested in joining the league. Emery, 27-year-old, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Phenom at Secret Hitler. Tyler knows that. He loves Los Rios. Everyone loves Emery. Great guy. He's an electrician. So that's just his little background on Emery. Connection to the league, went to high school with the majority of us. And we all keep up. I saw him last time. He even came to our draft. He just likes to hang out, talk football and whatnot. His ball knowledge seems relatively solid. Would he play next year? I would say most likely. Would he partake in athletic challenges? I think he would participate, but I don't think he would be thrilled about it. Like, I think Ian would be super happy to participate in these athletic challenges, whereas Emery, I'm a little out of breath from arguing with Hunter, but Emery, one sec, I gotta plug this computer in. Emery, I think, would do it, but it wouldn't necessarily be what he would want to do. Demeanor, super laid back. How would he take being roasted? He would crack a joke about it and let it go. He's not one to hold the grudge, or he doesn't seem like a big fantasy arguer to me. Bad trade potential is low. He's got a relatively high amount of fantasy experience, so I don't think he's going to make bad trades. Social score, A-. I think he'll show up to Taco Mac here and there. He goes to Los Rios whenever I ask him. Comes to our draft, so I think he would be really good socially, be active in the chat. I think he's in about 2 to 4 other leagues. His extracurricular participation would be solid. Biggest con is maybe he's in too many leagues and wouldn't be super locked into our league. Biggest pro is that he's just a great vibes guy and would show up to Los Rios and some football watching. And I think he has a potential to become a really core member of the league if he enjoys it. I think he could really be, one of those guys who is in it for the long haul. Connor Clark. So I actually talked to Connor Clark. Some of you might be surprised to see his name on here. He said he was interested in taking over Ashton's team. For those of you who don't know, 27-year-old fantasy guru, sports guru. He used to have a podcast, I think. I don't think he does it anymore, but loves himself some sports. He works at a card shop, went to high school with most of us. And he quit the league about maybe 3 seasons ago. He's friends with everyone in the league. His ball knowledge is solid, but he also has a lot of off the wall takes like Matt. He told me that he could not commit to playing next year. So he would probably just be a placeholder for this year, which, if we want to just reevaluate who we want to add next year, we could just have him manage the team. Would he partake in athletic challenges? I don't, or yeah, he would. He's done it before. Demeanor, he's very opinionated, but not in a toxic way for the most part. How would he take being roasted? He gets defensive and he'll argue with you a little bit, but it's all mostly in good fun with Connor. Low bad trade potential. Social score is a very good A. He's in like 2 to 5 other leagues, so that's, his commitment wouldn't be super high. His extracurricular participation would be very low. He lives in Marietta. He doesn't often like to come back to where the majority of people live. Biggest con is he's just a placeholder potentially. Biggest pro, he's super locked in to sports and very active in chat. Burke. Now, Burke is Matt's brother. I'm going to meet him tonight at basketball. Now, I assume he'd be interested. Matt suggested him as a Sam replacement at the beginning of the year, so I put him in here. He's in law school, apparently. He lives in D.C. I'm going to actually meet him tonight. He's joined me and Preston's basketball team, and Matt says he's a great guy and loves to watch sports. So his connection to the league is Matt's brother. He's Matt's brother, and he's also now in Preston and I's basketball league, so that's a solid connection. Maybe we could watch some football together, maybe, who knows. But Matt says his ball IQ is high, but, I'll do a little recon, who knows. Would he play next year? Probably. Would he partake in athletic challenges? I don't know him, but I think probably. There's a slight chance he's very Sam-like in terms of he's going to law school. It seems like a smart guy, and who knows how many leagues he's in. So maybe he would be kind of more of a Sam style player, but maybe not. I don't know. You can see it's unknown on a ton of other things because we just don't know him. Seems like a solid extracurricular participation guy, potentially. His biggest con is he's an unknown and he has a decent amount of Sam potential. His biggest pro is he also, while has a lot of Sam potential, he has high potential. Like he could be like Matt, maybe. And he could contribute to the Northeast fantasy powerhouse that we have going on in Washington, D.C. with me and Preston. He could add on to that. So Burke, I believe, is his name. Matt's brother. That's an option. Rue. I put just wing this for a bio. He went to high school with us. Everybody should know Rue. He's in our dynasty league. Keeps in touch with most everybody. Again, he came to our draft that we did in coming. Whenever I hit him up to go to Los Rios, he's always down. His ball knowledge is good. He would probably play next year. Yes. He would participate probably, but I could. He would probably participate in athletic challenges, but I could see maybe you have to ask him a few times. You got to get him up, get him going to do that type of stuff. Demeanor and personality is very laid back, but he's got into a number of fantasy altercations in Dynasty. So he's got a little spicy side to him as well. How would he take being roasted? I mean, I've seen it. Sometimes he takes it okay, sometimes not. It just depends. He's got a low bad trade potential, I would say. Social score is pretty good. He's in the chat a lot. He's in probably about 2 to 4 other leagues. Extracurricular participation would be very high. He loves, I'm sure he would go to watch some games and he comes to the draft and do all that stuff. Biggest con, he can be a loose cannon. He's gotten into big arguments before, and he said he would veto half the trades that were made in Dynasty. I think a recent blow up last year was due to a trade somebody made, and he said that he thinks we should just start vetoing everybody's trade. So he's a little bit of a loose cannon there. Biggest pro, he's a known commodity. Won't do anything too crazy, and he's solid socially, and I think he would probably be in for the long haul. So I would say that's Rue's biggest pro. Next is Caitlin Hand, 27-year-old wife of Cameron. Her connection to the league is she's married to Cameron, and most everybody in the league knows her. Her ball knowledge is low. Would she play next year? No, she would not. Would she partake? Oh, it says he. Would she partake in athletic challenges? No, she wouldn't. Her demeanor is nice, but she can be sensitive. How would she take being roasted? Not well at all. She would probably cry and want to quit if she got roasted for a trade. Bad trade potential is extremely high. I mean, she doesn't know anything, so she very easily could make a bad trade if it was offered to her. Social score F, she would never talk in the chat. She doesn't, even like summits very much, and she doesn't like watching football really. So she's not going to any games. So her extracurricular participation would also be extremely low. But she's in no other leagues. Her biggest pro is she's Cameron's wife, and he could make a lot of trades with her. So that's great. And then her biggest con is she doesn't like football and is probably too sensitive to play in the league. So she's also an option. Randy, also another option. He's between, not really sure how old he is, but he's between 16 and 35. His connection to the league is he's best friends with Will. His ball knowledge is probably pretty low. Would he play next year? I'm going to say yes, he would. Would he partake in athletic challenges shirtless? Yes. I mean, that's probably the number one thing he would want to do is participate in the athletic challenges. Demeanor and personality seems to be a relatively sensitive fella. How would he take being roasted? He would take his shirt off and try to fight you. So that's something. Bad trade potential is very high. Social score B plus. Other leagues, none that I'm aware of. I doubt he plays fantasy football. Extracurricular participation low. Biggest con is never wears a shirt. Biggest pro is he's great friends with Will, so that would get him slightly more invested in the league. If you have any other ideas, of course, put in the chat. These are just the guys I thought of. I know Dylan plays with a lot of other people, so maybe Dylan might know some randoms from another league, maybe like Brody. I don't know, someone like that. I have a coworker. If we were really desperate, he wants to join, but of course, no one knows him, and I'm not even going to be working there for much longer. So, not really a great idea. And if anyone else has any ideas, let us know. I personally think we should pick Ian or Connor. I would do Ian. No, I mean Emery too. If Emery really wanted to play and he's in like 2 leagues, I'd say Emery. So I would go Emery, Ian, Connor, and just have Connor be the placeholder. Would be my vote. Best people who have left the league. So this is everybody updated list of everybody who has left the league. I would say Connor is probably the best guy to have left the league. He left to start his own league. He was a solid guy. Ash, he left, as we all know, because of low grit, and he made a bad trade. So that caused him to leave. Sam left because this was his 6th most important league. I know there's a lot of narratives out there that Cameron Hand kicked him out of the league, but that's not true. It came out after he quit that he was in like 5 other leagues, and ours was like his 5th most important league, and that's why he had left. I mean, there was mounting pressure from people like me, but not just me. Also, Logan, he left basically because he had no dog and he got mad about it. And Logan was definitely not the worst guy we've had in the league, but definitely by no means was the best. So, he's about a 4. Alec, I honestly don't even know why he left, but I don't really miss him in the league at all. Camacho left because a bad trade was made, I guess, but it also, he always kind of wanted to leave. Sorry about that. Oh my gosh. Work stuff. He also wanted to leave. I think Camacho blamed it on the trade, but it was all just a farce so he could quit. And then lastly, Andrew is the worst person that's ever been in the league. He just was essentially kicked out for being so bad at the game. And most likely to quit next, and why, I would say Matt is going to be at number 1 here because I think if this trade gets vetoed, I think he's going to be salty about it. Which, I don't really blame him. Dylan might just get tired of playing. I mean, that could happen at any time. Same with Dylan or Bobby. Bobby could just get tired of playing. Me, I mean, I've like it really stinks losing. I don't think I would ever quit, but I really am getting sick of losing. And then also the accusations. I mean, I make these videos and I'm getting blamed over here for pushing narratives like we need to veto this trade. I'm like, guys, I just am 1 of 9 who thinks we should at least vote on vetoing this trade. That's all I am. But I feel like I get attacked as like some sort of someone who's trying to be a puppet master. Not the case. Preston, the birth of a 3rd child, and Leah might make him quit. I could see that if he had a 3rd kid and Preston's still a little too into fantasy, I could see him needing to quit. Tyler could always just decide he doesn't like playing fantasy football after this year. Hunter could get tired of all the heat that comes his way with the commissioner. The the crown's heavy on Hunter's head sometimes with the commissioner duties. He could get tired of it. Greg might also get tired of the drama as well. He could, could happen. And then I can't even think of a scenario where Will Brooke or Doug quit. So I don't think they will quit. But that is my emergency podcast for going back through who should we take, who are options: Ian, Emery, Connor Clark, Burke, Rue, Caitlin, Randy. Other ideas? Does anybody else know anybody? I just wanted to start this conversation. I honestly just wanted to make a video that started with emergency in the front of it. So thanks for watching, guys. Let's vote on this thing, and let's just put this whole Ashton Matt trade behind us and have a good rest of the season. Bye.